know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it back there. Yeah, I got game, got in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it turnpike miles. Yeah, it's Google signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock. I be doing big things.
Welcome back, everyone, to the newest edition of Once a Week. I'm Billy Janlutis, and as you can see, we have another incredible special guest for you today. Someone that I've come to know through the gym, both of us lighting it up in the morning, but truly someone that I see so much drive and creativity in that I wanted to get him on here to explain his background, because he's truly an aspiring NBA broadcaster who is now studying at the University of Alabama, where he is doing big things in the sports analyst world. And I've seen him grab the mic, guys. I've seen him grab the mic for the pregame, the postgame interviews. I've seen his clips, and his skills, they truly show. But rarely do you come across someone with that goal in mind, to be the voice that we go to for sports. But I'm telling you, this is going to be the guy that you go to for the sports update when the time comes. Everyone, I give you Alex Chasen. Alex, thanks for making the time, brother. I'm happy to have you here.
I've never got hyped up so much in my life. Yeah, thank you very much.
Dude, get the audience going, man. But no, seriously, like, you really bring the energy, man. You really do. And just like, I can see the Celtics stuff in your background.
Oh, yeah.
Getting to know you the last few years or so, I see that future has come to fruition because you are so driven for it. I'm seeing what you've done. I've seen what you're doing at University of Alabama. It encompasses you, we'll say. Like, everything about you, man, is driving towards that goal. And when I see that, even for just lifting in the morning, when I see that in you, you see someone that's so focused, they're so dead set on their goal. They're going to make it happen one way or the other. And that's something I had to walk my path with, because when I started out doing the speaking and the coaching and whatnot, heck, starting the YouTube, it was not what everyone had heard of before. It was very different. So when they said, oh, Bill's going to speak, Bill's going to be a coach, you don't hear, like, what is that? Like, I remember going to college, told everyone I was going to be a public speaker, and they're like, what the heck is that? What? And so I had to go against the grain because it was a dream not too many people ever heard of before. So with you, like, dude, we know broadcasters. I listened to them last night during the Celtics game, but we know specific ones that stand out. But if we think about that, what makes them different? For one, they had the goal to be that sports analyst. Two, they had the voice and whatnot. But there's only a select few that actually even want to step into the sports analyst world. So for you, Alex, what sparked you to even want to step into that world?
So at 13 years old, I had my bar mitzvah. I had to prepare for that for a very long time, like learn Hebrew. But I was on a stage in front of people. And I realized, I can talk in front of people. I had to do a whole speech and learn Hebrew, like I just said. And then right after that, I started a YouTube channel, Alex Chasen. I still run it today. I posted a video yesterday. I'm going to post a video today talking about sports. Over the years, it transitioned into NBA content, and I just kind of found a passion for talking in front of a camera and just talking about sports. No matter who was watching, one person, 1,000 people, I didn't care. I just loved sitting in my room right here and just talking sports growing up. And as the years have gone on, I found my niche in basketball, which has been my love and passion probably since 14, 15. It took me a few years to realize which sport I really loved. But ever since then, I just loved putting like creation into talking about sports, specifically basketball. And since 13 years old, most kids, I mean, I know some of my friends, I love them, but they still don't know exactly what they want to do, which is okay. Everyone has their own path. But since I was a kid at 13, I've known what I want to do. And I pretty much want to do anything I can to get there.
Yeah, right. Oh, I love that. And that's the drive. That's the creativity that I see in you every single morning, dude, when we talk. And I agree with you, like, phenomenal. Your friends are still searching for what they want to do. So for people listening, heck, I get to work with people that are in their 50s and 60s still trying to figure out what they want to do. But when you're young and you catch it, and I always like to tell people in a deeper sense, we always know what we want to do since we're little kids, but not many of us actually take steps towards it until later in life. Like, we're told to put it off until, I don't know, the finances are there, until you're safe, whatever it is. But I truly believe you're supposed to take those steps when you're young, and you captured it. You saw, like, this is something, and I love how you narrowed it down to basketball. You kind of found your niche. And the beauty is that when you're at school, man, I'm seeing what you post, I'm seeing what you do. They put you in every single sport. Like, I've seen you on the football field interviewing people. I've seen you doing this stuff and whatnot. But I'm glad that, like, heck, I'm a basketball fan above everything else. So I'm glad it's basketball you chose. But when you started navigating towards the basketball area, what were your skill sets that you started to see pop up? Like, you're so driven to do it. Do you see something that separates you from the rest in an analyst type world? Because you have a love for the game, no doubt about that. You said you have since you were a little kid. How does that love for the game pop up when you have the mic in hand, or when you're interviewing someone, or just watching a game for that matter?
I just love entertaining people. I think that's where it comes from, is like, I probably shouldn't say this because my professors won't like this. I don't really love the journalistic side of all the sports media stuff. I love entertaining. So that's why I started the YouTube channel. That's why I want to do this. I love, making people, whatever's going on in their life, I like just maybe not helping them out, but just, giving them something to look at and be entertained. So I always try to have like an upbeat personality and put a lot of time and effort into my videos, or just be me on camera. So like I said, I just love entertaining people. So when I have that mic and I'm interviewing someone or whatever it may be, I just love being like my best self and just trying to, make someone else's day better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That lines up perfectly to me, man. Because when I grab the mic for an audience, it's like, it's not that I become a different person, but my energy rises. And you want to be an entertainer. Heck, what I do, you got to entertain people just as much. You have to pull them in. So Absolutely. With you doing a sports sense, man, I love that. And I agree with you tenfold where, yes, entertaining is such a factor, but if you can help someone, like, we go to sports, all of us are sports fans because it's a break from the real world. Yes, it's a game that's happening in the real world, but it's a break from the stress. It's a break from the desk. It's a break from the, I don't want to say family, but it's a break from that, where I can just sit and watch, the Celtics face the Pacers, right? It's like, I don't have to sit there and worry about everything else. So with the entertaining aspect being there, it brings in so much to it. Heck, it's like, that's why people love Stephen A. Smith. That's why people love, what's the guy? He was the analyst last night for the Suns game, the one that yells "bang" all the time. Like, he captured the entertainment.
Like,
right,
exactly.
there you
go. The broadcasters, it's kind of like if you're listening to a song, you have like the beat, but the broadcasters, they're like the lyrics to a song. Like, you can't imagine watching a game without broadcasters. Right. Yeah, I love basketball, but I don't know if I'd be able to watch a game without a broadcaster.
It's true. Yeah. Oh, I completely notes down to the game.
Think about how much you love basketball. Would you still be able to sit there for 2-3 hours if there's no broadcasters?
Right. Exactly. That's probably, dude, honestly, that's a tough thing in going to games sometimes. Like, obviously, if you're at a Celtics game, the energy's there, everyone's yelling, screaming. But if you think about it, it's weird not having the play-by-play, like if you were when you were watching it on TV. So I completely agree with that, man. But you kind of bring up a good point, though. So, like, you kind of pinpoint with whoever you're listening to, whether it's an analyst, heck, whether it's, I don't know, maybe it is Mike Breen or something like that. But when you're in school, what have they taught you? What skills have you learned at the University of Alabama from an analyst standpoint, from a broadcaster standpoint? Has it added to your entertaining talent? Has it added to how you put the spotlight on the player? Like, what have they taught you so far?
So in class, I mean, you can only learn so much. It's all about like the internships. I think for the industry that I'm in, sports media, or really anything, if you wanted to do like general news, it's all about the internships. A lot of majors, you can just kind of like go to class, get good grades, and get your dream job.
Right.
Well, for this, you have to have many internships. So I have a few different internships on campus. I work at the TV station. I also work at Crimson Tide Productions, which is a partner with SEC Network and ESPN. And that's where I made the on-air team. And I'm working towards getting on-air opportunities. I've done on-air stuff at the TV station, so I'm trying to grow to that next level with Crimson Tide Productions and get on SEC Network and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
But what I have learned is in those internships, there's just so many different valuable skills. Like, I'm consciously thinking about it right now. I have a tendency to talk super, super fast. Okay. So one of my great bosses I think it's because, Boston, and we're all hyped up and just trying to talk and everyone's getting in our way. I think it's the Northeast stuff, why I talk so fast. But one of my bosses, who's like the head of this, Justin Brandt, he's amazing. And like, he's worked with me to kind of slow down my pace, and especially with a teleprompter, I have a tendency to kind of like ramble on. That's one of the things I want to work on and get better at. So I've had a few different people, or my boss at the TV station, just a great supporter of me. So I've had a few people kind of help me, like a lot with like your public speaking. You have to learn how to use your voice. I had a public speaking class where I learned how to use my voice, and I'm still trying to master that and talk more in different ways, when to, talk highly, when to talk low. So I've had a few different people in areas to kind of perfect my craft, which I'm nowhere near perfect. Awesome. I got a long way to go, but every day there's plenty of people in my area that help me out a lot.
Yeah. Well, even just that concept of, one, you're at the right school for it. That's for sure. If they put these people around you, but in growing your craft as the broadcaster and growing your craft as the analyst, for that matter, to be able to have this person to go to learn how to the pacing of your voice, for that matter, or have this person to go to know when to take it high, to take it low. It just, I sit there and I think of just so many strengths come to you, which makes you the person to go to, like I said in the intro. So when you're learning all these skills, when you're doing it, and obviously right now you said in the back of your mind, you're thinking about the pacing for yourself, the pacing for your voice. Is there any skill that you think you are cut above the rest, we'll say? Like you said, you're an entertainer. You said there's a talent. You said there's a skill there. So is there any skill that really was kind of already there? Like, all right, I'm really good at this. Like you said, you're focusing on your pacing right now, for that matter. But is there a skill that stands out where, I like Alex because he brings the energy, he's really high at this, or he really knows how to really put the focus on the player? What kind of sticks out to you when you look at yourself in the mirror?
I think what differentiates me from a lot of people is I have endless energy. Sometimes to the point where I got to rein it back in. I think that's part of the reason why I might talk too fast at times. Like I just love talking in front of a camera. Obviously about basketball, but it could be football, it could be baseball, maybe hockey. I could do it, but I just love like bringing the energy and being like super hype. Like I'm not Stephen A. Smith. I don't want to be Stephen A. Smith. I want to be Alex Chasen. But if I had to like compare myself, he gets a little wild, but I just love the energy he brings because he's an entertainer. Yeah, he's a journalist and he tries to find the news, but these days he's more of an entertainer for an audience. And I just love bringing the energy and just being someone that can, like I said earlier, bring someone's day up and kind of just be a little goofy, but also talk about real news. And I just love like bringing the energy to whatever I do. But on camera, I mean, there's nothing better than being the energy person in a right manner. Yeah.
For sure. Oh no, I love that. And I can see it in you. 100% can see it in you. That's perfect. And I'm glad, like you said, Stephen A. is Stephen A. All the Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless. But like, everyone has their own little niche in what makes people want to keep coming back to them. So you with your YouTube channel, or you with all the work you're doing right now at the University of Alabama, I can't wait to see you. What'd you say, on screen talent is what you described it as? Like that's incredible. That's going to be huge. So as you work your way there and whatnot, you like you said, you're so driven for this. You're so driven. You can see how all the pieces have kind of come together. You've had the supports come to play with your teachers that you mentioned. No matter what, since like you said, you were 13, you've been taking steps forward in this area. Tell us about that. Like, what has been some of the insights or inspiration mentors have brought to you? Because you mentioned prior to this recording that there's been some mentors that have really had those little nuggets of information. It's, what, I need to keep coming back to that. So what sticks out to you and what mentors have taught you, for that matter?
So I know I was kind of hating on this, like in classes don't teach you too much, but I will say one thing. I have this piece of paper right here. It's honestly awesome. This was from the first day of my freshman year, so August 2022. And it doesn't really mean much, this paper, but it's one of my former professors. I went to his office and I asked him, what can I do to get to where I want to be? Because I knew what I wanted to do, like this sports media stuff, but I didn't exactly know what to do at the University of Alabama. Freshman, my graduating class in high school was 50 people. I went to a school with 40,000 people. I didn't want to be lost. I didn't know what to do. So I went to him and he was like, well, in this industry, he basically said, you have to start right now. And I took that and I ran with it. I went to the radio station. I got an internship there. I started doing writing. I started an MBA podcast there. I continued my YouTube channel. And then I was like, all right, so what's next? I wanted to take a step up. This year, I started working at the TV station. I got the job with Crimson Tide Productions, the SEC network people. So basically, my professor who wrote down, it just says contact, education, experience, skills, get involved, just little things of how to like get better. And again, this paper doesn't really mean much, but I leave it with me because it was the first professor who was like, if you want to make it in this industry, you got to get started right away. Because a lot of kids, they wait. Like I know some people who don't, they're in the same major as me, but they're not really taking steps to get to where they want to be. They have these dreams, but they're not really doing anything about it. But one of my professors really installed, you got to get started right away. So I want to give a huge props to Professor Michael Little. He probably barely knows my name because he sees so many students. But the fact that I just went to his office and he kind of just said something he probably says to every other kid, it just really stuck with me. Another thing was Rich Hollenberg, who works for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's a broadcaster with them. I took like this broadcasting course with him last summer. And a quote he said was, one small moment of embarrassing encouragement can change your life. Like just reaching out to someone on LinkedIn, like an area you want to be in. Like for me, I want to be an NBA reporter. Let's say I reach out to an NBA reporter. We get, make a connection, have a phone call. Maybe one day he can get me a job because I have that connection. So I'm still working on this because, I'm still young. I'm going into my junior year of college, but I truly believe that one small moment of just being embarrassed and, maybe nervous to reach out to someone, it can change your life. And I'm sure you know that, very well.
No, I completely agree with you, man. I love that, and it's true. I love that quote. That quote's so powerful. What's it? One moment of embarrassing encouragement. Is that what you said? That whole concept, man. That's the name of the game. Because I sit there and I look back when I started speaking, and I always tell everyone this because like I started speaking in high school, like to audiences. I just had opportunities. I'm going to take it. Let's go for it, and because I just wanted to help people. That's what the driving force was. But I sit there and I think every single person has to be put in front of their classroom at one point or another in public speak. And I can specifically remember the heat rush. You blush, you get embarrassed, and like that, like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Your hands start sweating and everything. And I can remember being so embarrassed by that in class. And then the opportunity started to pop up to speak to the teams that I went to high school with because they were failing. They were losing their season. I didn't want that to happen. Like, hey, maybe their friend can speak to them. So I stepped into the role. And I would, for a split second, I felt that heat rush. And I changed the definition in my mind at that moment. I was like, most people look at this as embarrassment. For now on, this will be, I'm alive. I'm doing what I want to do. So every time I don't even feel it now. I was at Michigan State University over the weekend speaking to students, and I was on my game. The performance was there. I'm like, and so I was so happy with it because I'm seeing, like, I don't even feel that heat rush anymore. I fully stepped into the role. So the embarrassment is gone, but I had to go through the embarrassment to find the courage that's underneath all of that. And I think that's for anyone with their goal, whether it is broadcasting, whether it is speaking, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it is, I don't know, an athlete for that matter, whatever job someone listening right now has. If you want to be better at what you do, or at least you want to take a step towards what you want to do, much like Alex is doing, much like I've done, you got to go through that feeling, that worry, that stress, that embarrassment at first, because it's not going to be perfect the first time you do it. But if there's a love, if there's a drive, if there's a passion underneath to find your purpose, that's what allows you to step towards it. And Alex, that's exactly what you did when you were younger, and you're like, this is what I want to do. I'm going for it tenfold, right? Yep.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I mean, in middle school when I started at 13, I got like made fun of, not to the point where like it was like overly bothering me, but I was kind of chubby. I was on the bigger side when I was younger. I wasn't even remotely close to working out. And I was just making YouTube videos looking like a dork, but I didn't care because I just enjoyed doing it. So exactly. I mean, you can't care. You can't be embarrassed. You just got to kind of do what you want to do. And
exactly.
Just, got to do it.
Right. I always said this. I can remember one of the first YouTube videos I ever put out on my channel when I was trying to practice my craft as being a speaker. It was all about goal setting. And I can specifically remember when I say this in my gigs now, when I started out doing what I wanted to do, I can count the amount of people that supported me on one hand, and not one was a family member, because we're all set in our environments and whatnot. We have all of our families, our friends, everyone's there, but they know you as who you've always been. And when you're trying to step out into something new and you start telling people your goal, your passion, your dream, the support doesn't come in because they can't see that goal for themselves because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. So only you can be the one to bring it into this world. So when you step out for yourself, it's okay if you don't have all the support in play. For anyone listening right now, you just need your own support. And Alex, that's what you did at 13. I'm sure you had support there. I bet your dad's a phenomenal man for that matter. Your whole family sounds so supportive. But the only way you could get to the level you're at right now at University of Alabama is that belief in yourself, regardless of what people said. And it sounds like that's been there since 13 when you did those YouTube videos. Yes, people will poke fun. They did that to me too. But it's your courage to step through that. I don't care what people say. This is what I'm going to do. It's what I am. It's what I am doing. Let's go for it. And you've rode that train, man, all the way up the mountain right now. And I know it's like you're still in the journey of it, obviously, to becoming this NBA broadcaster. But, dude, to see where you've come, even just from getting to know you and then knowing the backstory of starting at 13, dude, you're doing it. That's incredible. That's
I appreciate
awesome.
that. And one thing that's really interesting, it's like I think everyone that wants to be successful, I think they kind of have this in their head. I never feel satisfied. Like I've done all these things in school, but like I'm never like it's never enough, or like I'm never really super content. But what does help me out, that kind of puts that to a side and gives me a few seconds of like I have come a long way. I think about where I was, senior year of high school, or where I was when I was 13 with this as a dream. I'm so stoked where I'm at right now. I've accomplished a lot, but I need moments like this, consciously think about it. But I think everyone who wants to achieve a higher purpose in their life, they kind of have that in their head where it's like, I got to keep going. This isn't enough. I'm really not doing much, but you have to remind yourself that you are doing a lot. Just think about where you were last year or 2 years ago. And if I do that, I absolutely am proud of where I am at right now, but it's hard for me to get there, but it's good to have those moments.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. 100. I echo everything you just said. And for everyone listening, rewind that. Alex that's some words of wisdom, 100% right there. But it's true. You got to be able to. I said to my buddy in the gym this morning too, because he's finally stepping out to what he wants to do. He wants to real estate, flip houses, the whole 9 yards. Never really had the courage to do so, and he's now found that courage. And you're seeing it all flow in. He comes from a mindset of I'm never doing enough. And if we come from a place of I'm never doing enough, you never see how far you've actually come. And so I told him, like, hey man, I get it. You want to get the whole, all like thousands of houses down. You want the money flowing in. I get it. But if you come from a place of I'm never enough, or I've never been doing enough, you're never going to allow yourself to rest to see how far you've come and to really realize like, oh my goodness, I'm good at what I do. So it's the same thing with what you're saying right now. And for listeners, for that matter, you got to give yourself the pat on the back for sure. Every single win, it matters. It's just like sports. Celebrate every single win. When you look at that in your own life and you realize like, okay, you know what? I just, like for you, Alex, I just did incredible at that game and that post-game interview with that coach, that player, whatever it ends up being. And you sit there and you just knocked it out of the park. If we have the mentality of onto the, like I do this with YouTube, and I know I probably shouldn't do this, but it's always been it onto the next one, onto the next one, onto the next one. I don't allow myself to sit and enjoy that was a great video or interview, whatever it was. It's like, all right, what's next week's? If I'm constantly living in the face of the future, I miss out on all the blessings, the joy, and the passion that's here in this moment. So that's been a lesson I've needed to learn, but it's a lesson I see in every single one of us. So with how far you have come in this whole process, man, like you're young, but you've come 10 times further than anyone ever talked to that's even had that idea. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to be an analyst, but would you? And that's what you said earlier. Some people, they never take a step towards it, and I agree with that, but you have. So to celebrate the fact that you have, heck, with an interview like this or whatever college has you doing, man, like you are paving the way to what you want to do. And that's when and I get to dive deeper in this with specific people, but that's when you truly know it's going to happen because your mind is set on it, your thoughts are set on it, you speak into reality, but your actions are backed behind it because the belief that you stand on is, I'm going to be an NBA broadcaster, but I am an NBA broadcaster. And so with what we talk, like, heck, we can talk about the Celtics and whatnot now, heck, to show your skills, but at the same time, man, you're doing it. So I give you so much credit, but I echo everything you say to listeners, to viewers right now. Take Alex's words and run with them for yourself. Because you might not be into sports or an analyst, but you're listening right now. But what is it that you are into? And can you take the steps to have the drive and the creativity to do it your way? Because that's what Alex has done.
Exactly. Like what I want to do, I think just the taking the steps to just go out and do it, it applies to any area of life. I mean, you can do exactly what I've done, like just kind of going out and taking the steps to kind of achieve what you want to achieve. And put that into anything. Like I think the gym is lifting is a great model to put into any other aspect from your job to your family. If you can be consistent and feel success in the gym, I think that is a huge trajectory boost to any other area you want to achieve in.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, I love that, man. It's so true. It's so true. And I love that example too, because it starts in the physical body, man. If you can build habits, build routines, build skills, and get a result from it, right? The same thing. It transfers right over to school, transfers right over to your dream, your goal, whatever it is. But now, dude, I want to transfer this right now, this idea, because I want to hear you talk about sports itself. Because I know you watched the Celtics last night. So people listening right now, this might air on Sunday, but at the time of us recording this, Celtics just won game 1 against the Pacers. And I'm exhausted because I still woke up at 4 for the gym, but I wanted to watch that game because it went overtime. So, Alex, with you being the sports broadcaster, the NBA broadcaster, what's your take on that game? Because I'm sitting there and Celtics won, but they didn't win in the fashion that I would have liked them to win in. So what's your take on the Celtics winning last night?
Can I ask you a question real quick on that?
Sure.
And then I'll go with it. What do you think should have been the outcome last night? Do you think the Celtics should have won by 20? Do you think they should have won by 15? Or is that kind of what you expected, a close game?
Truthfully, if we had Porzingis, obviously he's injured for people listening right now. If we had Porzingis, I think we would have blown those Pacers out of the building. Not having Porzingis, I think we needed people to step up. Drew Holiday stepped up for sure. However, I am still waiting for guys like Tatum. Brown kind of does it. I'm still waiting for guys like Tatum to show their killer instinct in these finals, in these Eastern finals, but also eventually NBA finals, like they sadly didn't really show much of it against the Warriors. But after how the teams played last night, the Pacers should have won. There's no doubt in my mind, because we didn't really start playing like we had I can't say that we were up 12-0 to start the game, and then we were up 34-31 at the end of the first quarter. Like, the Pacers are a very quick team. They stick with people for sure. Tyrese Halliburton hit some incredible shots, no matter what, some lucky shots. But I'm sitting there and I'm watching mistakes that Brown makes, the mistakes that Tatum makes. And I'm like, what's going on? This isn't how we play. And, I think that's always a downfall of the Celtics. But I'm happy they won. I really am. I want them to win this finals. But with how the Pacers played last night, for both teams to rack up 130 points, over 130 points, the Pacers had that until the last 40 seconds of the game. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
The reason why I asked is because a lot of people think the Celtics should have won by 20, 15 points last night. But I wasn't really overly surprised because not even in these playoffs, but the Pacers, they're the fastest paced offense in the league, which means like they run down the court the fastest, or the quickest to push the ball in transition for people that, that may not watch basketball.
Yep.
And they're also, this season, they average one of the most points in the league, and not just in the league, of all time. So their offense is extremely high powered. And half of that season, they didn't have Pascal Siakam. They got him at the trade deadline, who's another star in the NBA. And that added just even more reinforcements to one of the league history's best offenses. Now, on the other end, the defensive end, they're a revolving door. So I think that's where the games stay very close with the Pacers. But I really wasn't surprised the Pacers kind of came back in that game. They're also a very intensity-heavy team. Like, they have a lot of self-belief, which you need in this league. But if you look at that team, I mean, they don't really have a lot of, besides Pascal Siakam, most guys on that team, and then Aaron Nesmith from the Celtics, who was on the Celtics, there's not a lot of playoff experience. But they don't care. They have the self-belief to go out there and get the job done and play against, I know the Celtics don't have KP.
Yep.
I'm still not overly surprised. I think even with Porzingis, it still would have been a relatively close game, just because the Pacers, throughout these playoffs, they've played really tough teams, where the Celtics, Heat without Jimmy Butler, a Cavs with half that series without Donovan Mitchell, and like you alluded to earlier, and I'm going to kind of bounce off that, Tatum and Brown, I'm still looking for that dog. I think Brown has it more than Tatum at times.
Sure. Yep.
But I also think throughout the years, there's been a constant theme since 2017 when Brown came in the league, and then 2018 when Tatum, or 2016 and then 2017 when Tatum came into the league, a constant theme of everything's all right, let's just be lackadaisical, even subconsciously. And I think that's exactly what, again, played out last night. They had two easy series. They come into this one, and they're up 12. They're kind of cool. And then the Pacers come back and make it a game where they probably should have won. Yeah. And Jaylen Brown made that huge three to send it to overtime. But, I mean, if he missed that, different story today.
Oh, completely, right? And I agree to all that 100%, especially the Pacers. For sports fans listening right now, the Pacers seriously are one of the fastest teams. But I did notice it last night. The Celtics, they kept up with the Pacers' speed, with up and down the court. You're watching everyone run back and forth. Celtics, it's not they play slow, but the Celtics rely on the three-point shot so much. You don't really see the speed back and forth that the Celtics have. Last night, they kept up with the Pacers, which is great. It's what kept it a close game. But I sit there and I question, can the Celtics keep up that speed? Like, they need something to prevent the Pacers from running that quick of a game. But that's what the Pacers are known for. That's what you said. They face tough teams. Like, just the Knicks in the last series, for that matter. I wish the Knicks won because they were so injured. It'd make it such an easy win for the Celtics. But at the same time, the Pacers they got the dog in them. They really do, because they've battled. From the in-season tournament against I think they lost to the Lakers in the finals or whatever, but they made it there when no one else believed they could. And then, like you said, getting Siakam and adding on to this team and whatnot, you see it in the Pacers that energy is there. And I just want Tatum to show that. He's a very laid-back player, phenomenal. His skill set's off the charts. But I always bring up, I talk to my brother and debate it all the time. Tatum always talks about how Kobe Bryant helped him, trained him, and everything like this. But you see certain turnaround moves that he got directly from Kobe Bryant, which is incredible. But I'm waiting for that dog, as you said, to come out of Tatum that Kobe Bryant had, and I don't know what's going to cause it. Because I texted my buddy last night during the game. If Tatum's energy is high, this is a totally different Celtics team. But I have never seen Tatum's energy off the charts. He stays very composed. Phenomenal thing for sure. Allows him to focus. But in an NBA that's literally built a game of runs, and you have those energized players, Tatum needs to do it. And I agree with you. Brown has that dog in him more than Tatum. But we rely on Tatum for everything. There's no doubt about that. He's the star.
One thing that has always kind of set me off about Tatum is his, I want your opinion on this, is his complaining to the refs. Because maybe not so much last night or as of late, but there's been plenty of moments. I've recorded myself getting mad at it, where he'll complain, where he'll miss a shot, maybe or maybe not get fouled, whatever, but he'll complain to a ref allowing a transition. Then it's 5-on-4 going down to the other end, and the other team gets a transition bucket. You can't do that against the Pacers. Actually, in my video yesterday talking about what's something that could really be the downfall of the Celtics, it's Jason Tatum. I know it's so simple and so stupid, but him complaining to the refs, he just walks slowly or jogs back up the court and forgets about there's a game going on and you have to play defense on the other end. I know it seems so small, but you can't do that against a fast-paced team like the Pacers. And I don't know. What's your opinion on Tatum complaining? Because I feel like it's been his whole career, but as his trajectory has gotten better and he's become a superstar, I think it's only gotten worse.
I get that. And there are moments where he needs to complain because he didn't get the call. I get it. But with me and how, when I played basketball back in the day, if you don't get the call, you just keep the ball, you keep going. Like, screw it. I didn't get the call. I have to keep playing. Sadly, and, I get to see it. I see it in even up and coming players, like high school players and whatnot. The new age of the NBA is LeBron kind of brought it in, where it's like literally you have to cry to get and I love LeBron. I really do. I think LeBron's a phenomenal player, but he brought in that I'm going to make the ref think I got fouled mentality, and I'm going to argue with them and whatnot. But I see it in LeBron James. Obviously LeBron's 40, so it makes sense, where LeBron will stay back and let a play transition, and then, oh wait, the defense, Anthony Davis gets it, LeBron's open for a 3 down at the other end. I hate that. I hate that game of basketball. And Tatum does that. Tatum, and I get it. He wants the foul call and whatnot.
It's crazy, though, because it's crazy because, like you said earlier, Kobe Bryant's his idol. Yeah. Kobe wasn't doing that.
No.
He didn't care what was going wrong. It was his fault no matter what. He wasn't blaming anyone else. Yep. So it's just it's kind of contradicting. I don't know.
It's true.
I love Tatum because when he's on, top 5 player in the league, no question. But when he's off, I will say, though, I will give him a lot of credit. In these playoffs and throughout this whole season, when he's been off, he's become a fantastic facilitator, racking up the assists. He's averaging 12 boards a game in these playoffs. He's become a fantastic rebounder, so he affects the games in other areas. Yep. But we need him to be that bucket getter superstar. Yep. And when he's complaining or doing this, that, and that, it just doesn't really help.
No, exactly. And I agree with that with Tatum and whatnot. And when he's not on, we look to Brown. But if Brown's not hitting his shots, we got no one. And we saw that, especially in the last series. We saw that a couple times where it's we lost games that we should not have lost. I think, what is it, where now 3-0 in game ones this year, this playoffs, but we're 0-2 with game twos. And so it's and so it's crazy.
Back to the complacency thing I was talking about with Tatum and Brown. Yeah. Again, I think it's more subconscious these days.
Yep.
Back in the day when they were younger and they were riding high, going to conference finals as a rookie for Tatum, second year for Brown, that might have been, more conscious complacency. But these days, I think it's we're up 1-0. They just kind of ride it back a little bit. And if we lose, all right, it's just tied.
For sure. Which I want to blow these teams out of the building.
I'm waiting for them to they should have swept.
Yeah.
Maybe not the Cavs.
Yeah.
But, they should have been a lot.
They might not have been sweeping them, but at the same time, we should have been winning these series 4-1. 4-0, but 4-1. And they shouldn't have been as long. If we give them one game, sure. But every other win should have been, we won by 20. We won by 30. If you look at how this Celtics team played during the actual season, we were blowing teams out of the building. Heck, I think broke the record for most 50-point wins in a season, right? Exactly. So it's where's that team? Obviously, playoffs. We got to give credit to the other teams in the sense that they're coming with different energy too. But where's that mentality where I'm just going to blow this team out of the building because we can? And I think that where's that
dog?
Yeah.
Now again, KP Porzingis is out, so I mean it is a factor. But and also Al Horford cannot continue playing 35 plus minutes against a fast paced team like the Pacers. He looked pretty not great last night. Not terrible, but he looked gassed.
For sure, right? And that's the thing. I noticed Horford changed up his game of play and Jaylen Brown changed up his game of play because Brown took 2 threes in the entire game, I believe, and one of them was that last second shot. And I'm sitting there. I only know that because I did a parlay and I needed Brown to hit 1.5 threes and he only hit one. so I didn't win. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, but it makes me watch the stats more. And so I'm looking at Brown. Brown, he's a very intelligent man, but he's a very intelligent player. Like I think he did stuff at Harvard and whatnot, but he, last night watching him play, he was really calculated with what he did. He knew Siakam was on him. He knew Miles Turner was on him. He knew the bigs were on him, so he couldn't shoot the three. All right, you're playing smart. I get it. But then he wasn't making the same mistakes of, I'm just going to put my head down and drive into the lane. That was his mistake the last 6 years. And he'd lose the ball, and that's caused so many turnovers. So he didn't do that. Phenomenal. But then I looked at Horford, and what you just touched on, he was gassed. Horford was sitting out at the three-point line the majority of the game. And he chucked up a lot of threes. He hit a couple of them, which is great. But he wasn't looking to be the down-low facilitator that he usually is, where I'm in the post. Oh, I don't have the post shot. Luckily, that guy's open. He had 0 assists the entire game. He might have 1 assist for that matter. But at the same time, I'm sitting there. I'm like, is this Missoula? Did Missoula change up? All right, this is how we're going to approach this really quick-paced team. I don't know what their game plan is. That's why I was so thrown off for texting my brother last night. We shouldn't be losing for one, but we shouldn't be tied at halftime. What's the deal here? But, again, with a team like the Pacers, who are the underdogs, it's sick to see a team come out and push it. It's like the Timberwolves on the West Side. Timberwolves are sitting there just to beat the Nuggets. I love it. I freaking love it. Just because you're seeing a young team that no one thought would make it this far because of the youngness, or even Luka and Kyrie beating the Thunder, and you're sitting there, what? Luka with 30 injuries to himself right now, and somehow beating the Thunder. I love where the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals are, because the teams that should be in there are in there. But talking about the Celtics, they got to play differently if they're going to make it to the finals, for that matter.
I think they're going to make it to the finals. It's more about I'm scared for the Timberwolves, not as much as the Mavericks, but the Timberwolves.
I think Celtics
who does have the dog.
Yep.
Is Anthony Edwards. He's 22 years old.
Awesome.
And he talks like, you want to talk about someone who's actually embodying Kobe Bryant. He walks and talks like Kobe Bryant. Or, I've seen the Michael Jordan comparisons for that matter as well.
Right.
Not championship-wise, just like the mentality, which you don't see often. But Anthony Edwards has that, and it's amazing to see. Coming into this season, I was a Anthony Edwards fan, and I believed in the Timberwolves. But the year prior, they fell to expectations. They were supposed to be where they were last year, and it didn't happen. I'm like, I'm not going to believe in them now. They already failed me. Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns were fighting because the big man positions weren't really working. Anthony Edwards, I remember Karl Anthony Towns was talking about how Ant's diet's not in check. There was a lot of just in-house issues. Yeah, but shout out to their head coach, Chris Finch. Shout out to the entire roster because they figured it out this offseason. They made a little tweaks. And this year, one of the best teams in the league beat the Nuggets, which was huge. Mm-hmm. I actually had them losing to the Suns. That's how much I was kind of I had everything right so far in these playoffs. I made a bracket prior. I had the Pacers here, which no one really thought. So I'm going to give a little bit of a shout out to me.
That's awesome.
I did have the Timberwolves losing in the first round because I didn't think Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. I know they didn't work great this year, but I just couldn't bet against Kevin Durant in the first round of the playoffs. But boy, was I wrong. But I'm extremely happy for the Timberwolves and where they are right now. And then beating the Nuggets, I mean, they're rolling. And I think right now, honestly, they're the team to beat. Because like we talked about, the Celtics have had a quote-unquote easier road. And I think they're right now just figuring out, okay, we got to amp it up. I think that's what we saw last night. But the Timberwolves, this whole time, they've been amped up. And I think right now they're the team to beat in these playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree with that. And it's scary because if the Celtics make it there, hopefully Porzingis is back. I don't know what, you haven't seen much updates. He's supposed to be coming back the third game of this series, potentially, if we need him. But if we're up 2 games, I hope we don't bring him back. But to go into the finals against the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves are playing off this confidence and energy, that's going to be a crazy, crazy series. But, to round out this talk, because we just kind of gave everyone a quick little view of you as an analyst for that matter, NBA Finals, you already mentioned, it's probably going to be Celtics Timberwolves. What's that series? How does that go?
So obviously I'm a little biased, Celtics fan.
Yeah.
But if I keep it out of it, I think it goes 7.
Cool.
And if it goes 7, Celtics have home court these entire playoffs because they have the best record.
Yep.
I'm going to go with Boston in 7, but I think it's going to be one of those things where the Timberwolves might be up 3-2.
Yeah, I get that.
Or it might be up 2-1, whatever it may be. I think the Celtics are going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah,
because the Timberwolves are still far better than what the Pacers are, and we saw what happened last night.
Yeah,
but I think the Celtics are built for the championship. We saw it all year. It was not a fluke. They won 60-plus games.
Yeah.
So they're built for it, but there also is a question of Joe Mazzulla. And I'm a believer in Joe Mazzulla, but I think if they had Ime Udoka right now, I think they wouldn't have lost a game so far in these playoffs. I think they would be 8-0 or 9-0 actually so far in these playoffs.
Right. Different mentality.
Different mentality. And he's the only coach that I've seen bring out the dog in Tatum. We talked about it earlier. He is the only coach that I've seen bring out the dog in Tatum, bring it out in everyone. And I mean, we can't go back in the past. I think Joe Mazzulla is a good mind, but his philosophy is just a little bit more father-like instead of we need to hype you up, and get that dog out of you.
For sure. Oh, that's a great, great observation right there, because I agree to that. Father-like is definitely Joe Mazzulla. It's like low. It's like kind of laid back. You don't really see him lay into players very often. It's more so just like he's calm, cool, and collected. But I'm like, dude, I need your energy as much as I need Tatum's energy. Like, someone start yelling right now. Get some people, get some energy going. But no, I agree with that, man. I would love to see. Now, I would love to see a sweep by the Celtics, but a 7-game series, like you want to talk about entertainment earlier and in your concept, 7-game series, Celtics Timberwolves would be one of the most entertaining series in a while. If this, like you said, the Celtics are down 3-2, we can come back from that. I don't see people coming back from a 3-1 series like LeBron and Kyrie did again for a while.
And the reason why I think the Celtics will win is because when they went to their last finals or their first finals as this group, they didn't have any experience.
True.
Now they have Drew Holiday. They have Tatum Brown. These guys who have experience. Holiday actually has a ring. So maybe I'm wrong, and maybe the Celtics will, be up 3-2 and then close it out in 6. But I am confident that they might struggle a little bit because the Timberwolves are a different animal, or even the Mavericks if they get there.
Yep.
But I'm pretty confident that this is our year, because if it's not, there's major changes that need to be made again.
Yeah, no, it's very true. I completely agree with that. And the Timberwolves just have so many incredible pieces. They really do. I think Jokic announced that when they lost to them, where it's like defensive player of the year, 6th man of the year, Anthony Edwards, who was an MVP candidate, Karl Anthony Towns, who just literally does it all right now. There's so many heavy hitters on that team, but that would be I do think that's going to be the finals. That's going to be an incredible set of games to watch, we'll say. But all that being said, dude, I love getting a window into your world as an analyst, and that was always just freestyled, on the spot or anything, but it's cool for me to see that, but it's cool for viewers and listeners right now to hear your takes on something we love, the Celtics, basketball, how the series went, where it's like it happened last night. We're going to talk about it because that's what you do, man. Like, if you're the broadcaster analyst, you're right there on the spot, and that's your future. Whether you're at the games doing it, whether you're the radio, TV, whatever, something at University of Alabama, like, man, it's so cool to see you so driven, taking the action steps needed to put the pieces in play. So I appreciate it, man. I appreciate your time today to be able to talk about it. But let me ask you this, last 2 questions. One, what's next in the journey right now? Like you mentioned, you have some stuff coming up where you might be on the SEC type show at University of Alabama and whatnot. But what's the next step? What happens after college, for that matter, in this broadcasting world for you?
After college? It's a great
question.
Even if
you may not thought that far, but it's totally your call. Yeah.
So obviously my dream is to be an NBA reporter, like on TV.
Yep.
But after college, it's like, I don't exactly know. I want to, get these 2 years, or if I go another year for my master's, I'm kind of thinking about that right now, just to get another year of college experience.
For sure.
I don't exactly know, because in this industry, there's not like one, really in anything in life, but particularly in sports media, like you get out of college and you're going to go somewhere, but you're not going to be there for very long. You're going to puddle jump to somewhere else. So there's a lot of different avenues I could take. So I don't exactly know. And if it was a straight line, it'd be like after college, go right, being as an NBA reporter for ESPN or TNT, which I don't even know if TNT actually might go away because NBC is behind their rights. But whatever it may be, whatever it may be, my dream is for that. But I don't exactly know what that looks like. Now for next year, I'm going to be starting to do some broadcasting for soccer and volleyball games. So I'm really excited for that.
Cool.
And then
Okay.
hopefully, and then basketball and bigger things, but you got to start somewhere. But I'm extremely excited for that coming this fall. Some soccer, some volleyball games for SEC Network. So I think that's what's coming next soon. But then as for the future, I have that dream. But it's going to be a squiggly line to get there, but I'm excited for it.
Hey, squiggly line is the best line to take when you're following your dream. Because like look up the, I don't know what it's called, but there's a diagram out there when you're following your dream or following God's plan for that matter. It's literally like all like you want it to go straight up, but it's literally twists and turns and everything, dude. And that's literally what this whole thing is about. When you following your dream, me following my dream, man, wherever it leads, heck, it led us to this podcast interview right now. Wherever that goes after that, man, it's one step in the right direction. So I'm loving that you're putting all the effort in, man. I'm loving the sports that they have you doing. You said soccer and volleyball coming up. That's going to be so cool. That's going to give you so much experience. And just for people listening right now, I want you to be able to follow Alex. So Alex, tell them, where can they find you? You mentioned the YouTube channel. I know you're on Instagram. You're on LinkedIn. Tell them where they can find you to find more about you and more about your takes on basketball and all these other sports.
So my pride and joy is my YouTube channel. So you can find me as at Alex Sports Chasen. So my first and last name with sports right in the middle. And then on Instagram, it's just Alex Chasen. That probably pops up. I think it's Alex Chasen 03. And then on LinkedIn, just look me up and I'll pop up as well. Twitter, same thing. Pretty much you look up Alex Chasen, I'll pop up. But on YouTube, Alex Sports Chasen, because there's like this other guy who's Alex Chasen, who's made like one video like 10 years ago. But other than that, I think I'm the only one.
Sweet. Okay. Guys, go subscribe to his channel, follow him on Instagram, find him on LinkedIn, reach out to him. You know, if you have sports takes or you have ideas that you've been thinking about for, I don't know, maybe the Celtics, maybe some other team for that matter, reach out to Alex on it. Heck, watch his videos. I'm telling you guys, he's got so much knowledge in not just basketball, dude, the entire sports industry. That's why I'm glad you're looking at other sports too, but I can see you being the basketball analyst. There's no doubt in my mind that's going to happen. But guys, go check him out for that matter. One final question, Alex, I ask to every guest on here. Is there a lasting message you want to leave with any viewer or listener right now? Doesn't have to be about sports, doesn't have to be about broadcasting, but you mentioned a lot of golden quotes, golden nuggets for that matter that have helped you along the way. Is there anything you want to leave with people right now to kind of help them or spark them for that matter?
I'm a big believer in why not me. I don't know who created it. I couldn't tell you. I wish I could, but I've looked it up and it's like 1,000 different people. But just why not me? Like I want to be the next big, broadcaster. I want to be the next big podcast host, whatever it may be. I would really do anything in media as long as I'm talking about basketball.
Yeah.
But why can't that be me? Someone has to be the next one to be successful. Or, if you want to be the next big entrepreneur, you want to start a company, why can't that be you to be the next person to be successful? Like, I don't get people that are like, oh, it's hard to do this, that, and that. Well, someone has to do it. Yeah. Think of any famous person they were at one point not famous. Or if you think of any successful business person, at one point they weren't successful in business, but they had the attitude of, I can do this. So I'm a big believer in why not me. And then one other thing I'll add is, this is like a newer quote that kind of has hit me is let's say, for example, put into perspective of like, you want to have a cheat meal, right?
Yep.
Don't do it for one more day. Or like if you're running a mile, one more step. So kind of like sit back and just go one step at a time. And just, maybe today I won't have a cheat meal. Or, today I'm going to take, I'm going to do half a mile more. Just take it one step at a time and just, think about what you can do today to get better.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that, dude. That's spot on to everything right there. Guys, take that information, run with it for yourself. Why not you? And that's exactly the driving force behind Alex doing what he does. So I love that message. And, Alex, it just shows even more so why not you? With what you're doing, man, heck, for anyone listening, have that perspective with every step that you take, as you just touched on, and you're going to get there. One way or the other, you will get there. But Alex, I thank you for your time, dude. It's been a blast. I love talking about sports. Heck, I'm going to talk to you more about sports and basketball and the gym for that matter. But I hope people find your channel. I'm going to tell you all of his links, everything he just touched on, his YouTube channel, his LinkedIn, his Instagram, Twitter, everything is going to be in the credits of this video. It's going to be in the YouTube description. You can click on it. You can go right there, subscribe to his channel, find him, check out his takes on sports, because I'm telling you, he's the next big name that's going to be popping up down the line in the NBA industry, when the sports industry just as much. So, guys, please like this message on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button below, share this message to someone who you feel can hear it, might have similar takes on basketball, might want to know more about Alex, or just someone that it could help too with the little nuggets of information that Alex brought, that I threw out there too, that can help them with where they're at. They might not be into sports, but that quote that Alex just brought up of why not me might spark them so much when they hear it from the person that's helping. Share it to them if that comes to you. Subscribe to Once a Week here on YouTube. That number is going up every single week. We're so happy to see it. That means we're helping more people. Please become a part of it and hit that subscribe button. And if you are in need of a coach who can help you with any areas we discussed today or to dive deeper into certain areas we've talked on this channel, go to BillyGLifeCoaching.com. You can set up a free call with me. I'm right there for you. But Alex, once again, man, I thank you so much for being here. It's been a blast, brother.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys.
You know I've been around and doing it, but now it's my time to shine and start proving it. I'm losing it, I'm moving it. The city is where I'm made, Bostonian flow, I kick it a back day. Yeah, I got game, God in a fan way. We the city of the champs, every sport we play. Spit wetter than the harbor, yeah, I'm flowing like the Charles. I be speeding on this beat, call it Turnpike Miles. Yeah, it's Buku signing on, John to the Hancock, and I'm always key, I'm ready to unlock.